Hello, beautiful and amazing sports fans. It's the coach here, Coach Ed Gladney, and welcome to Coach Ed's Amazing World of Sport. Now, today I'm going to be talking about imposing your will on the opposition. All right, and this episode is actually called Impose Your Will. Now, that's one of the key elements that you find in sports, all facets of sports. Doesn't matter what type of sport, even at whatever level. Doesn't matter if it's the players or the coaching staff, whatever. Everyone is always trying to impose their will because it allows them and gives them a competitive edge. You'll see that in football a lot, not just in the offensive and defensive line. You'll see it in throughout the gameplay. Imposing your will is having the opposition do the things that you want them to do. Now let's say you're the quarterback and you're dropping back to pass, and the safety is in the middle of the field, a high one safety in the middle of the field. Now, you look to your left, their right, at a receiver who's streaking down the field. And the safety sees that, sees you looking at him, and he opens up and starts moving in that direction. You wanted him to do that because his job initially may have been to just stay in the middle of the field and play your eyes, and then whichever way you look, head that way. But you had him turn his hips and head that way because coming the other way, you have a receiver who has inside position on his defender, and it makes it easier for you to pass that ball to him without a safety coming flying across and possibly intercepting the ball, deflecting the ball, or exploding into him and separating him from the football. That's an example of imposing your will. A running back running the football, and he's running laterally, and he sees a linebacker coming, and he wants to set him up and with the angle he's taking, but he knows based on the blocking that an alley is going to open up another way. So then he steps, cuts, and now he tacks that way, but that linebacker over pursued. Those are just a couple examples of imposing your will. Yes, you'll have the physical aspects, which happen every play in the offensive and defensive line for whatever reason. A defensive end uses speed, gets his shoulder dipped underneath an offensive tackle, because he set him up because the offensive tackle kept his hands up high instead of, playing with proper technique, taking the right angle, get right kick steps, and he overshoots and he can't get his block. He got set up. The defensive end imposed his will because that may be what he wanted to do. Many different variables or facets, play into that. So I can tell you from experience, my first time in college, going through a what we call the goal line drill to prepare us for short yardage or goal line, being in there and trying to fight for every inch. And the defensive line coaches that I had, Coach Dunn and Coach Cummings, they taught us a drill called grab the grass. And basically all that was is you're in a 4-point stance, you're down maybe an inch or so from the grass, and you're shoulder to shoulder with whoever you're going up against. Now, the objective is to really get your shoulder underneath your opponent and scoop him and push him back. You're grabbing the grass, which is why it was called that, clawing, digging, using your feet, whatever. Now, when it came my turn, me being fresh, never having played any type of organized football before, college was the first time I ever played organized football, putting on the pads and everything. And Coach Dunn set me up with the senior captain of the defensive line. So me, I was 6'2", 285-ish, somewhere around there. And Sharp, who I was going up against, He was 5'10", 195, barely 200 pounds. Played defensive end, was lightning fast, but he'd been playing all his life. So he knew how to play the game of football. He knew the techniques and everything. And he was a senior. So I'm saying to myself, well, he's small. He can't do anything to me. On the whistle, we're fighting a little bit. Next thing I know, I'm laying on my back with Mitch right over top of me, face mask to face mask, yelling in my face and raking his face mask from side to side. I got you. I got you. I got you. Now I'm upset. I'm embarrassed. I'm I'm borderline ready to cry. So I wasn't expecting that. Now Coach Cummings comes over, pulls me to the side. You're pissed off, aren't you? Yeah. You know, do you know what you did wrong? Really, I didn't. I had no conceptualization of what the hell had just happened. I just know this man put me on my back and embarrassed me. So Coach Cummings said to me, what I did is I let my backside rise a little bit, which also let my front shoulders raise. And Mitch took advantage of that and imposed his will on me. And because of that, he was able to get underneath me, and I had no way of combating that. Just flipped me over, and I landed on my back. Now, I learned very much from that, and I appreciated it because it was never going to happen again. And I always did well, at least in short yardage and goal line. That's for one thing. No one could ever say that I would get driven back like that again. I always penetrated, but I learned from it. And I took those lessons with me for the rest of my coaching career and making sure that I help guys learn how to impose their will on whoever they're going against. Now, when you watch the games, whatever sport, look for little things like that. How are they imposing their will on the opposition? What are they doing? Is it a big explosive physical type of a hit, or is it they get them to go one way? Basketball, the crossover. You get them going one way, and everybody ooh and I, and then they drive, and then they do the step back, whatever. Baseball, you're striking a man out. He's expecting one thing, and you set him up with that pitch, expecting him to, and high and tight with a fastball. Next thing you know, breaking ball or a curveball low and away. Little things like that. How do they impose their will on the opposition? Now, it always happen, one person will get his opponent will get him, but in the end, who imposes their will the most? And that's a beautiful thing of sports, the competition, the who's winning the little battles, to ultimately win the war. You know, I enjoy stuff like that. I enjoy the chess match, between the players, even the coaches, from one coach to the other. How do you set them up? How do you get them to defend one aspect, or protect one aspect of a play, and you set them up, in a different way? As a Giants fan, how is our offense? How are we going to set up and impose our will? Defensively, the same thing. How is Coach Wink going to, confuse the offense, and how are we going to attack them? So many different aspects, that I do appreciate, in terms of watching the game and studying the game and learning, in the game itself. So, hopefully you guys will be able to take from this and, look for little things like that. How do your favorite players, or favorite teams, how do they impose their will? So, I hope you guys really enjoyed, this little conversation, this little tidbit that I, put out there. And, hopefully we'll be able to chat about it, in the comments. Give me your thoughts on imposing, your will. What have you, as a player, what have you experienced? Or, as a fan, what have you seen? Just, go ahead, let's talk about it. You know, hopefully you like this video, and if you do, give me a thumbs up. Um, Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Share on all your social media platforms. Tell all your family and friends about Coach Ed and the amazing Coach Ed's amazing world of sports. I need your help in making this channel grow. I really appreciate and I love you guys for all the help that you'll give me. So again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. I hope you really, really did enjoy this because, I did enjoy opening myself up to you guys and talking about my embarrassing moments, and it's all in good fun. If you guys, rib me, joke with me, I can take it. It's fine, but as I always say in sports, make sure you turn it on and turn it up. Peace and blessings always.